Hey there folks, thanks for joining us on another board game night. Tonight we're playing Atari Centipede from IDW Games. This is designed by John Gilmore, Nicole Klein and Anthony Amato. Right, so this is essentially a 2 or 4 player game, but we're only playing a 2 player because I pretty much feel it's like only a 2 player game. And if you're not familiar, this is a recreation of the old Centipede game from Atari. So with me, I've got Carla. Hey, Carla.
Hello.
And she's going to be the Centipede, because she's a gribbly. And I will be the gnome, the valiant gnome, defending the gnome land. Alright, so basically, how this is going to work is, I'll start as the gnome player. First thing, let's go through a couple of components. On my side, I have 6 of these dice, D6 dice. They have my actions on them. Then I have some console cards. I've got a glitch card over here, which allows me to destroy a mushroom on the board. I've got my control pad here, which allows me to shoot once and move once. And then I've got this, which allows me to refresh my dice pool. And then on the board over here, this section here where the blue line is, that's my movement area. This dotted line here designates my side of the board. We've already seeded the board with mushrooms. That gets done randomly, and you take in turns placing 3 mushrooms in a column, and you can place them anywhere inside the dotted lines. And then Carla, as the centipede player, she will spawn her centipede either there or there, and then get to move 6 spaces onto the board. Now, centipedes move quite interestingly, as you can imagine from the game. Just to be clear, neither of us actually played the game when we were kids, so we're just based it on what we're learning from the rulebook and what other people have said and so on. But it moves in a snake formation across the board like that. Anytime, so I'm going to steal one of those quickly, anytime the head bounces into a mushroom, it will then go down a level. If it bounces, for example, there, into a mushroom, it eats that mushroom and then goes in the opposite direction again. So it'll go back and forth all the way down. As soon as the centipede enters my movement area, it wins and I lose the game, of course. If there are no centipede pieces on the board at the end of my turn, then I win. If one of the bugs, either the spiders or the fleas, enter on top here and I end my turn underneath them, then that will also cause me to lose the game. And that's pretty much it. So Carla's going to spawn her centipede now. Wait, which side are you going to spawn, Carla? And then, also to mention about the centipede, I've mentioned how the gnome turn works. This is the centipede move card. So the length determines the speed. So it starts off with length 6, so it means it's speed 1. But if it only had 3 segments, then it would be movement 3, and so on. And you can see the flea moves 2, spiders move 9, and then there are centipede cards that increase the speed of all your creatures. Any time a centipede spawns, they'll move 6 spaces, and I think Carla's about to do that. So
Okay, so I'm going to go 1, I bounce, 2,
she now goes in the opposite direction.
3, I bounce, so I go down there, 4, I bounce,
Yep.
I can't go down there, so I eat that.
And then you got 1 more space to go, isn't it? 1, 2.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, you got actually 2 more spaces to go.
5, 6.
Okay.
So it bounced. Yeah. So that then means
The segment's
I
filling behind.
fill in. Guess like that.
The centipede player works on the basis of on its turn. The first thing it does is play one of the centipede cards. So Carla's got 3 cards to begin with, and she'll draw a new one at the end of each of her turns. So she plays a centipede card, does what it says, and then gets to move a creature. She can move them in any order. So she can move a centipede, then a spider, then another centipede, and then a flea, or whatever the case may be. And that's pretty much it. So we're just gonna. I'm going to stop the video, but then we're going to come straight back to the gameplay turn, because it can be quite quick, this game. Alright, so we're back for the gameplay turn. We have done nothing yet since the deployment, because I didn't want to show you, I want to show you guys quickly. So, first things first, I'm going to do my gnome action. I have, as you saw, my actions based on the dice, and my gnome control cards. I choose one of these dice to do my action for the turn, and then I can play any amount of these gnome cards. If I don't play any gnome cards, I get to refresh a gnome card. So I know the centipede can only move one space now unless I shoot it. So one space will move it to there. The next turn it's going to bounce into here, eat this, and then either way it goes, it's going to eat something there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this dice right here. So it's a fire, move one, fire. So I'm going to fire my wand and shoot this mushroom. Then I'm going to move one space and fire my wand up here and blow that up. Oh, wait a minute, I think I'm going the wrong way. He's going to go that way. Ah, I've made a mistake already. A tactical mistake, not a rules mistake. I'm going to go quickly back, Gala.
Okay.
So, oh, actually that's not going to change.
No, it's just your direction.
Yeah. Yeah, so I shoot that for one. I'm going to move this direction. Shoot that mushroom for one. And then I'm going to use my glitch card to remove that mushroom right there. And then I'm going to use my last fire from my... Have I used my fire already? No, I have. I'm going to use my console card to fire again.
I was going to say, you have fired twice.
And I'm going to shoot the centipede in the head. So when that happens, a new head will spawn. Ooh, crap. Fingers are not working properly from there. So I've actually made this centipede faster, but obviously the point of my job is to kill the centipede. So that is my turn done. I've used cards, so I don't get to refresh any new cards, and I've used my dice. So now it goes to Carla. First thing she does is play a card. She's playing a mushroom. I just want to show them the cards. So that's what the centipede cards look like. So this one says it's a mushroom. So she can place a mushroom in any space on the board that is not adjacent to a centipede piece, or she can remove a mushroom from the board. So she's placing that freaking mushroom I just shot back there. It's obviously adjacent, doesn't count diagonally, so it's the orthogonally ones.
No, it's going to go 1, 2.
Okay, I need to butcher him. Alright, so now at the end of her turn she gets to draw up a new card into a hand of 3, and then it goes back to me. And now I need to take action. So what I've got available to me from my console cards that I haven't used, which you can't really see, is I can move one or refresh my dice. Neither one of those are particularly useful at the moment. Or, let's see if I can move this so that you can see it without actually destroying it. So I've got a shoot, move 4, shoot. I can only move in one direction, so I can't move back and forth. So, and if I move, say for example, let's say I choose the 4 movement and I go that way and I bounce into the wall, I don't get to come back again. It just ends my movement there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this dice right here. So it's shoot. I'll shoot that mushroom again. And then I can go 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4 there and shoot that mushroom. Or I can go 1, 2, 3, stop there and shoot that mushroom. I think I'm going to go the other direction. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And bang. Another mushroom bites the dust. And that is my turn. I didn't use a card this turn, so I'm going to refresh my glitch card. And then it goes to Carla. So again, first thing she has to do is play a card. Another mushroom. If you put the mushroom... Oh, you can't put it there now because your centipede's there. So if you put it in the same spot...
I wonder. So I'm going to go there, bounce of that, so eat that.
And then
It's
you go
going
in
to
that
go
way.
this way, down, this way. But he's 1, 2, 3, 4, so he's going to go 1,
Okay. So that's your card played. Now you move your creatures.
So I can't go there, so he bounces down to this, he'll eat that.
Yep.
1.
And then 2 back the opposite direction.
2. Is that it? 5, yeah? 1,
'cause
2,
it's
3, 4,
5.
5. Which,
Did you place that mushroom there to protect him?
can't even believe you asked that sort of question. What was wrong with you, man? Maybe just like, I don't know. Whichever way.
Okay. And then draw a new card. And now it's back to me. So, I believe I'm going to use one of these multitude of 3 and shoot dice I have. I could refresh, but no, I'm not going to yet. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then pew, which shoots him and forms a mushroom. But now you've noticed I've separated the head from the body, which means I've just created a new centipede. Do I want to do anything else? Maybe I should have used the 3 and refresh, because then I could use it immediately. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my glitch card, and then I'm going to remove that mushroom right there. Bang! Make call. So what I've done there is basically make her go further across the line, because that one there would have made her come down here. Now she has to go across with this single one, which moves pretty quick. Oh man. Okay, that's me done. Ha! She's playing Baby Centipede, which is spawn a 1-length centipede.
So do I now choose 1 centipede to move?
No. So first thing that happens when you spawn a new creature, you immediately get to move the 6 spaces with them. Well, a centipede at least.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Ah! Okay, so that was your card phase. Now it's your move creatures phase. So now you get to move all your centipedes.
Okay. So you get to move 6 again?
Not 6. Well, what is his speed? 4.
What is... Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm going the wrong way around. So it's length 1, speed 4.
Yeah, so he gets to move another 4 spaces.
So it's that way, isn't it? So 1, 2, 3, 4.
There you go.
And he gets to go
4 as well.
1, 2, 3,
Down and eats that mushroom.
4.
He's facing this way now, isn't he?
Yeah. And he will have to go down this way.
Yep.
So that's 1.
And then back the other way.
2. What is he, length
3. So he
3.
gets one more, yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple of spawn centipede cards in there, not the baby centipede like you played now, but the spawn centipede card doesn't go back into the discard pile. It goes on the side here because it gives all the creatures +1 speed, which is really, really friggin' good. All right, Shiza. I wish I had a 4 now. 1, 2. Oh, actually, I got the move 1. Yeah, that works. That works. Okay, so I'm gonna use my 3 and fire and refresh a card. Before I use that, I'm gonna use my console card to move 1 space, because you can interrupt, you can do your console cards at any time. And then I use my dice to go 1, 2, 3, fire, pew, kill the head of the snake. Was that there? Or was it there?
No, it was there.
There. And then I get to refresh a card.
No, you don't, because you just used...
No, the dice.
Oh, I see.
I don't know if you guys saw that, but the little rectangle allows me to refresh a card. Which one am I going to need more? Getting rid of a mushroom is quite useful. So I'm going to do that one again. My glitch. And that's my turn. 4 more centipede pieces to go. If you spawn centipede now, I'm going to cry. Ah, Berserk. Okay, so Berserk is a really friggin' good card for the centipede. So it says, after moving your creatures this turn, your centipede, you move your centipede 2 squares down towards your enemy without chasing its facing. So it can't enter the dotted line with Berserk, but it does mean it can move down pretty freaking quick.
2, 3.
Okay, so it stops there.
So its facing would be this way then.
Yeah.
Now it says your centipede, but I've got 2.
I know, I was just thinking that. I think you choose which one.
But this one moves anyway.
Yep, so he goes
he's
down.
going to go 1, can't go that way, 2.
Oh crap, I'm in trouble.
3.
And then back there.
4, 5, 6.
No, only 4. He's only went length 1.
Oh, I keep doing that, sorry.
Okay, so now you choose the centipede to go berserk and move 2 squares down. So for example, you could go boom, boom, like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's tempting.
I think it's also tempting to move that one there. Then you have 2 centipedes closer to my line.
Well, besides the fact that that one is fairly easy to kill, technically. Because you 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, actually you can't.
I can't kill it this turn, but it'll come towards me.
I think I'm going to do that. 1, 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I've not changed the direction. Do I need to do that?
No, just stick him up at the top there like that. It's just tailing down.
Yeah, because it specifically says
Don't change the facing.
the facing. Yeah.
So they're gonna meet each other.
Mm.
I don't know what happens if they meet each other. They'll just bounce and make both go down. But obviously it depends on which one you move first. Okay, so back to me. You draw a new card.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 move 3s and shoots, which are both rubbish. So I'm going to use this card here, which allows me to refresh my dice pool. Which we create all of them, because I need some inspiration. Ooh, move 4 and shoot twice. I prefer this one actually, which is move, shoot, blah blah blah. So I like that one as well. 2 and a shoot, 2 and a shoot, and then another refresh one. Okay. I guess I will use this one, which is a shoot once. So, pew, shoot the head of that snake, and then move 1, and then I shoot that mushroom as well.
Oops, sorry.
And so this brings up an interesting question that we couldn't find in the rulebook, and we'll get to that in the verdict. Which there's quite a lot of things in the rulebook that are not clear. But like for example, this was facing that way. I've just killed this now. Which way does this face now?
Well, this one in this particular case, I think it actually looks quite easy to decide because obviously you write to this side, so it's going to be moving that way, right? But
on the level up, or
but no, because like I feel like it would be bouncing there and then going this way.
Well, it doesn't bounce downwards; it only bounces to the sides.
But that would mean, I guess it's like that. I don't know.
Well, it does. I suppose that makes sense. It doesn't change the facing, so it's still facing that way.
Yeah.
It's just a new head appears that way. I don't know. But I didn't use.
Or does that mean the player who's in control decides what direction it's going to go? Because there is no head now, there's a new head.
I don't know. So you guys can decide, or if you know, comment below. But I think that gives you the general gist of how this plays. We're going to finish off the game, and then we'll come back to you at the end with the verdict. So see you in a second. Alrighty, so this is the end of the game, and as you can see, my gnome has been eaten. One head centipede made it to the base and eaten him. Okay, so obviously Carla has won as the centipede, and that's not a shock to us. It's because Carla's so good at games.
Sure.
Alright, so you can have a look at the board and see how it's ended up. You can see there's more centipedes. She's played 2 of the centipede spawn cards, so everything's +2 speed now. Oh, you forgot to move the spider. Just for interest's sake, the spider would have moved to there, eaten that. Obviously, you never got to see what the spiders and fleas do during the turns. They basically spiders move.
Fleas move.
No, I mean spiders. They move. I've forgotten the word. Vertically and diagonally, but they can't move horizontally. And they can move up to 9 spaces. But with the berserk, with those 2 cards out there, they move up to 11. But obviously, anything they touch, they'll stop them from moving, and mushrooms they'll get to eat. If they ever enter the area just above the movement area, and they're above the gnome, they will kill the gnome. But the gnome can, on its gnome's turn, can move underneath them and try and shoot them before they cause any more grievous bodily harm. But obviously, Carl, in terms of how this game went, Carla spunked all her load of, because the 2 spawn centipede cards don't go back into the game. So if she ran out of cards, she would reshuffle without them, so she wouldn't get to spawn any more. She'd only have the baby centipede card, which is the 1 out of like 12 cards.
But in fairness, all my centipedes are moving +2 at this point.
Yes.
So really,
And if they're quite small like this, that means like 6, 7 movement. Means they are pretty friggin' dangerous. Which, in fairness, recreates that like moments from those type of games where they're like everything's going really fast. So, what did we think of this game? I'll start, and I'll say I didn't really play a lot of these type of games growing up as a kid. I wasn't really into the hobby as such when I was growing up, so I never played any of these. So I can't really talk about how it recreates the game. But I've obviously seen the game played now in my older age, and I know how it's supposed to work and stuff. And I think it's quite a good assimilation of what it's trying to recreate. And that in itself might actually be a problem, because it focuses maybe too much on recreating what this felt like. And I don't understand, like, I don't always understand why you would do that as a board game, because if it's so similar to what Centipede was as a game, why not just play the game?
And let's be fair, the game didn't have setup time, whereas this one does.
Yeah, you can literally just go online probably and find it for free and play it. And yes, obviously board games are a more social thing, but with this game as well, I think it's very skewed in the Centipede's favor. So it's not very social when the Centipede player is squashing your ass.
But also, you were saying that it's a good recreation. I think it is. Visually, I think this actually represents what it's trying to recreate quite well. But I think it's recreating the ridiculously hard nature of the games in those days. Where you essentially started the game and 5 minutes later you're restarting it. There's no like respawn, or you have to start from scratch. It recreates that just a little too well. I think it's really tough, and I think it takes, for me, some of the enjoyment out of it. Like, I don't enjoy playing the Centipede because I don't like to... Like, I know the gnome player is going to die.
Yeah.
Even if he had a really good game.
It's almost like a hollow victory.
Yeah.
And I thought I put up a really good fight. I mean, I thought at one point, maybe I can just do it, like, because you didn't get the Centipede those speed up cards early game, which helped. Obviously, I've played this a few times now, so hence the reason I was playing as the gnome, and Carla's only played this 2 or 3 times, so she was the Centipede, and so experience wise, if you were going to play this, you would always want to put the novice as the Centipede, because that almost slightly brings it back to a balanced form. I think component-wise, the game is actually really quite solid. I mean, the components look really cool. I like these little spiders and fleas, and the gnome.
Fleas.
Those look quite cool. Dice are nice and clear and easy to understand. The cards are all decent enough. They all represent that, those 70s and 80s Atari, look. The pixelated look, so that's all cool. The board and everything is fine. I mean, components-wise, it's fine. It's good.
It's good quality. Yeah. I don't, it doesn't feel...
Mechanically, some of the mechanics are good, like the dice, using dice to do your actions, having the console cards to facilitate that. The Centipede, completely different, using cards and just forward momentum so they're quite asymmetrically different. Which is pretty cool. So that is pretty much all the positives I can say from my side, and I suspect from Carla as well. I mean, I don't find the game to be that interesting, to be honest. I mean, as the gnome player, you have a harder time. So that, for me, is more interesting to play the gnome than the centipede. Like Carla was saying, playing the centipede is boring.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't... I think there's a little bit of an issue here in the fact that I kind of want to like the game more than what I do because its recreation is so good. I'm not necessarily a fan of this particular genre of game, but you know, I don't know. I think it's a very nice, nostalgic little game. But I mean, maybe some of the problem is actually that the rulebook is maybe a little too basic.
Oh yeah.
So it's maybe not imparting the information that we need. So possibly, maybe the gnome player doesn't necessarily have as many detriments as we feel it has, because maybe we're not picking up on some of what the designers had in mind.
Well, that's based off but just learning the rulebook. I mean,
Yeah.
I learned this. I went through this rulebook, and I was still unsure of what was going on. I made a couple of small errors the first time I played this because I wasn't 100% sure. Then I went and looked up some reviews and stuff, and even then, after watching 2 or 3 different reviews, I was then even more confused. Like, who is actually playing this game right? So I don't think the rulebook's very good.
Yeah, it doesn't. I think from the sound of it, it's not that the rules that they've explained is not accurate. It's that there's not enough information to accurately play the game, maybe, from the perspective of somebody that has no idea what the designer had in mind. Let's put it that way. I mean, there's little things like there are 3 spiders and 3 fleas, and whether or not they stay on the board seems to be
when they reach the gnomes area, do they stay? Do they go?
Exactly. I suspect they probably go the turn after, but this is kind of like, by process of elimination, we have come across that this is what we think is going to happen.
Yeah.
So, and that's not a very good, unfortunately, that's not a very good sign in terms of the rules. I don't know. My feeling is potentially this has potential, but if we understood, I don't know, if the rules are like it's like we've just played it, then I don't like it very much.
Well, the thing is, there's a couple of, I think, minor things. Like, for example, one of the things we dislike quite a lot is when you fire the gnome at something, i.e. the flea, the spider, or the centipede, when you kill it, it makes another mushroom. Now, the mushrooms, in my opinion, are inherently more beneficial to the centipede player than the gnome. I mean, I use the centipede, the gnome, the mushrooms to try and you saw me like, I'm going to take this away, so it makes him go further away, whereas he obviously bounces off the mushrooms going faster and faster down the line. Yeah. So when you get the situation, like a couple of times, a situation arose where, for example, this dice here, you move 4, shoot twice, right? Forget about this. Let's say that bugger wasn't there and I'm over there. So I move 4, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I shoot this guy right here. Now he forms a mushroom. So now that second shot that I have from there, do I shoot that before the mushroom appears? Because it says clearly that when you replace a segment with a mushroom. Yeah. So now I shoot the mushroom I just placed there. I'm like, what is the point? And if I'm doing that wrong, which as far as I can, the rules explain it that way, then how come this first segment then doesn't change into a mushroom, but this one does? And that means this guy now gets a quick boost going downwards because there's a mushroom right in front of him.
Which is exactly what happened in this case. There was a 2-length centipede here. He shot one, it changed it into a mushroom, and it basically gave me the very next turn to win. Yeah. You could do nothing about it. It actually just speeded up his demise, whereas you potentially... there's no Hail Mary pass for the gnome player, basically. There's no, last-ditch effort and I could maybe pull this out of the bag. Which again, unfortunately means that there is a point where the gnome player will feel like, well, this is inevitable. I'm going to lose now. I'm just waiting for the next 2 turns for it to happen.
Luckily, it's not a very long game.
No, it's not.
30-minute game. I mean, but even still, 30 minutes, when it's like, right, do I want to be nut punched for the next 30 minutes?
Yeah. There is a slight part of me that wants to say, but like the old games, it was you were doomed to lose. However, you
Yeah.
tried to last as long as you could.
It's funny how we always tell our children that you guys are so spoiled with your games these days because the
Yeah.
games we played when we were younger were harder. And I get that, and I get that's represented here maybe. But that's not really how board games work, in my opinion. I mean, if we were working together against the board,
Yes.
fair enough.
Because then you were playing against the board, and so you're now trying to team up and you're trying
Yeah.
to see how long you lost. But actually, you playing against somebody else that is essentially going to beat you up. You're
Yeah.
just waiting for it.
So, and I know it says in the book you then swap around and see if so basically we both lost as the gnome. Good job.
Yeah.
Out of interest sake, I mean, IDW got some other Atari games coming out. They've got Asteroids and Missile Command. I have no idea what they're going to be like. But so far, our first experience of the Atari line is not great. I mean,
No.
do you know how much you would rate this out of 10? I think...
I don't like to keep. I don't like to necessarily rate it, but I don't think I would keep it. I think the nostalgia effect is big.
Is lost on me, to be fair.
It is lost on us. So I feel like, maybe a Centipede fan is going to feel like this is exactly what they enjoyed. So I don't want to discredit it because I think what it's doing is doing well. It looks really good, really, really good. It plays fine. Just they need to just relook at the rules. Maybe
Yeah. The balancing, I think the balancing of the two factions decides.
Yeah.
And the rules are not great. In the rulebook, rather, not the rules. Mechanically, I think it works fine. I think the way they implemented how the two sides work.
Yeah.
I feel the way the centipede moves is really interesting. Because you can plan out, based on bouncing off the mushrooms and things. I think just small little discrepancies, like we said, like when you shoot something and it changes into a mushroom. Hate that rule. Take that out. I also feel like maybe the gnome player, if he doesn't, the rules say if he doesn't use a card on his turn, he gets to refresh one. I think it should just be you get to refresh one every turn. Plain
Just to try and even it out a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you could potentially house rule a few things, or potentially if they re-released an addendum to the rules, just so that it clarifies some things, maybe. Because I don't think this is a write-off. I actually think if you love Centipede, you're gonna like this game.
Yeah, for me, I mean,
You are.
if I would rate this out of 10, I would give it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think it's middle of the line. I think there's problems with it, and the theme doesn't quite appeal. But
Yeah, for us, it doesn't work, but maybe for someone else who, like you say, nostalgia factor might kick in. Or maybe they like the idea of just running against their brick wall as the gnome player until they finally win that one time.
it does make. Does this have a solo option?
No, I don't think it does.
Oh god! See, I think they've missed out there. There are a lot of people that like to play solo board games, and this, to me, would be nice as a solo board game. Because I actually almost don't think the Centipede player needs.
It does have a 4-player variation, which I'll show you here. We didn't bother playing with the 4-player because basically what happens is more components in the box, where basically you have two gnomes down at the bottom and 2 centipedes coming in, and it's just more chaotic and crazy. But there you go. I think you get the general gist of what we feel of the IDW's Atari Centipede game. If it's for you, you can go obviously pick up a copy from your local store. But for us, we're probably gonna move this along somewhere else, and we'll get to playing something else. Thanks a lot, Carla. Speak to you guys later.